Do you like wrestling? Do you ever watch wrestling?
No. Nope.
And The Rock said, whoa, 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 whoa.
What's up, gang? Welcome to another episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. What's up, gang? We are back from what started off as an excursion and then turned into a sabbatical, essentially. You know, you got to take some time off from the game, right? To rest up, to heal up, to learn new things. I encourage everyone to unplug, step away. My excursion started with a trip to Canada. I was in Niagara Falls, checking out the falls in the area. Ran into a nice Canadian gentleman who told me he was friends with Sean Spears. That's a shoot in a Tim Hortons. I'm not making this up. Niagara Falls, Canada. And then I lost my voice, so we didn't do an episode. And then here we are. And we're back. And on this episode, this 79th edition of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, we are going to talk about the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. We are coming up on the finals, essentially, of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. Wrestling Fan Kris is here. He's going to share his thoughts on the matches. I am going to share mine and possibly a prediction on who will be the next King and Queen of the Ring. We're also going to talk about Cody versus Logan Paul, set for the King and Queen of the Ring show in Saudi Arabia. And you better believe, folks, I have been watching some creepy videos in my downtime. Did I go down the rabbit hole? You bet. Are we going to talk about the impending reintroduction of a certain scary individual in WWE who fancies QR codes? Uncle Howdy. Yes, we are, folks. So we are going to dive deep into the Uncle Howdy lore. Also, Double or Nothing, another show coming up this weekend. Swerve is the AEW World Champion, and he is defending the title against Christian. We are going to talk about the card. Mercedes Moné making her AEW in-ring debut. And, we're also going to talk about a little bedlam on the show. We're going to talk about who might be the next Blitzkrieg Pro Bedlam Champion, if you're familiar. So let us not waste any more time. Joining me, as always, the notorious Wrestling Fan Kris. What's up, Kris?
What is up, Mike? Good to be back.
Yes, it is good to be back because it's been too long. You know, we haven't done a show since Cody finished the story. So Cody finished the story, and we finished the story. So we just closed up shop, and that was that. We're done. No need.
Had to start writing a new book. Start a new story.
I had nothing to crybaby about. The Cody crybabies. My job was done. No, The Rock has since moved on to fighting from the world of wrestling. And The Rock, did you see that picture, Kris, of The Rock as the smashing machine Mark Kerr?
It was a crazy picture. I can't believe that's him. I hope it's a good movie because, man, I hate when people go through all this kind of makeup and try to look exactly like the person they're playing, and then the movie's bad. Let's not make that. Come on.
Man, I saw the video of The Rock training as well for Mark Kerr. He was getting the Mark Kerr kind of movements down. He was actually a little on the quick side, I think, for the smashing machine. He was a little bit, we're not going for work rate here in the Valley
Yeah.
in the Valley Tudo ring, Dwayne. You know,
Listen, you just can't when you do 5-star matches, even if you're fighting, it's 5 stars.
right? Exactly. The great one entering the Valley Tudo arena for sure. Yeah, no. I texted Wrestling Fan Kris, folks. I do think that The Rock's portrayal of Mark Kerr, you know, it's possible that we see The Rock fight in the UFC. You know, I think I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think it's possible. And it's not like it would be in the old days where you want to find out if a tough guy is tough enough to win a fight, right? Like when Brock Lesnar first, transitioned to MMA. It's like you want to find out. I don't necessarily think that's the case with The Rock. There's not this super interest in him finding out, how tough he is. He's like 50-plus-year-old guy. But I just think he's going to do it. I just think that with the companies being owned together, he's on the board of directors. Crazier things have happened. So that's my thoughts on The Rock. And then, of course, we'll see The Rock back after the movie's done being filmed to take that title right off of Cody.
Yes, sir.
No. So let's get down to business here. Oh, wait. But before we go any farther... That's right. We need you to be kind, like, subscribe, and share. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. You already know where to find the podcast. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Check out our Facebook. Watch Wrestling Pod. We see you, Facebook family. Facebook cousins, we see you. Instagram, Watch Wrestling Podcast. Just post it up on Instagram. You do not want to miss those reels, folks. If you want to see Cruel go flying across chairs. Actually, that was Bronson that went flying across chairs in my last reel from the Blitzkrieg show. But you're not going to want to miss these reels, folks. We go to indie shows so we can get the viral moments. And of course, we are on X at W Wrestling Pod. Sometimes I done seen some crazy things in these streets, and I share those things on X. At Mike Wellman 88 and at W Wrestling Pod. Get at me, Terrence Howard. And we're back, Chris.
Yes, sir. Here we are.
All right. So, folks, as I mentioned, in my downtime, I have gone down the rabbit hole of the latest round of QR codes on WWE TV. I actually didn't catch up on the one from Raw last night, which I did see it, but I didn't scan it quick enough. Because that's what you do. You know, there's no rewinding. It's just you got to scan it right there. That's the only chance you get. One chance.
When you're like me and you got an iPhone that's like 4 generations too old, it's hard to get your camera up fast.
You just got to be ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
It's a good motto.
For these QR codes. So, yeah. So, how did this whole thing start with Uncle Howdy? So, there was this Nightbird song playing in the arenas, not even on the show, right? A la the White Rabbit, Bray Wyatt return. So that was happening. Lights flickering, right? Then we get the little zzz things on the screen, the little scary images, and the QR codes, which lead to... I don't even know. I can't even get into the beginning of the QR codes, but the most recent and relevant QR code led to a series of pictures. Which, man, after I watched that video and I looked back at these pictures, it was incredibly scary. So there's like a floppy disk and it says plus witch on it, and there's like a day and a time, so people figured out to go on Twitch at a certain time, and then the WWE's Twitch got taken over, and that was scary. I watched that. I didn't watch it when it happened, obviously. I followed and watched the same 3 YouTube accounts that dissect Uncle Howdy lore.
Nice.
And I watched them watch it. And no, this thing, I'm sitting there, just even the shorter videos, I'm watching them on my phone, and I'm at my desk and at my cubicle at work, and I'm watching these videos. I'm just looking around, getting scared out of my mind. This music was so scary. The 50s, low fidelity, record player music, just mixed with the bleeding of the noise, and it was just horrifying. So, but what I've gathered from all this is that there is someone who was nobody, and they are actually also all of us at the same time, whoever this person is. And this person says, I'm possible. And they want us to believe or believe. Do you believe?
Always have.
Man, you know what, though? I would say the word believe. I say all you have to do is believe. I probably said that expression for 5 years after Bo Dallas, right? I was telling people to believe up until a couple months ago, I feel like. And I should have just kept going because now it's back. And I do believe.
You had that pen out, writing the book again. All right, that's you.
Chapter 1, believe. So yes, so there was references. There was like a video of Kane and like Vicky Guerrero and Brad Maddox, and it was an episode of like Raw from a long time ago. Way back in the day of like, I don't know, 2015 or something, or 2013. I don't know, 2015. Was it 2018? When was it? I don't know. This episode of Raw with Kane came out, and this is the clip that was on the Twitch feed. And this was an episode that featured was it the Wyatt family's Raw debut?
Yes, I believe so.
There was also a reference back to a date where there was an early Bo Dallas vignette where he was saying he turned impossible into I'm possible as part of his like positive affirmation character that he was doing. And then obviously there was the Believe blinking things. There's also been references to other characters. So first, it's like the sayings are, they set me free. Then it became like I set them free. And so there's this implication that there's more than just one person here, right?
Yes.
So there's the Nightbird image, right? Everywhere. And there's all these other images. And there's references to the Wyatt family, like a picture of the woods from like Eric Rowan walking through the woods, but it's just the woods, and it's like inverted or reversed, whatever you can do in Photoshop, where you invert something and make it like neon, the opposite colors. And then there was like the creepy monster guy. So there's like a new creepy monster guy that we just see glimpses of him, but he's got hands, and they're like little hands, and it's just horrifying. And somebody has inverted this image like 100 times to the point where it's actually clear, like filtered it 100 times. And no, it just looks like a scary skeleton face. That's really scary to think about. And believe me, I have been thinking about it.
I don't like it.
So this whole thing, I said, when did this whole thing start? And I said it was the Nightbird song playing in the arenas. It actually, really, realistically, this whole thing started with the Becoming Bray Wyatt documentary, right?
Yes.
Because on there, for one, Taylor Rotunda is giving you more insight into both the Bray Wyatt character and the Uncle Howdy character, right? I believe on the documentary, Taylor Rotunda mentioned that this idea for Uncle Howdy basically stemmed from nightmares Bray Wyatt had as a kid. That's where Uncle Howdy came from. And he actually, on that documentary, he also shed some more light into the Fiend and Bray Wyatt, even behind the scenes, and really kind of tied up loose ends about like the Fiend character and why they did certain things. So yeah, it's a really good documentary. If you haven't checked it out, I recommend it. But that's really where this thing kicked off, because obviously at the very end of the documentary, spoiler, there was this cutscene where they're showing Bray Wyatt's lantern. And then, I'm looking around, make sure he's not here. And then a shadowy figure comes up and snatches that lantern. And you already know it's Uncle Howdy, right? So that happened. So now we can just expect, a potential return of Uncle Howdy. And, or a reintroduction, I should say, because we really didn't get very much. And I did also go back and watch every clip of Uncle Howdy and every clip of Bray Wyatt of his return last year, right? And I think looking back on the Bray Wyatt return, it's the story has kind of been told as that return when he came and spoke from his heart, that was him speaking. And it may have been. There may have been elements of it that were genuine. I'm sure a lot of it was genuine. His return, his trepidation, all this stuff. It was an emotional moment. It was great. It's really what people remember the most, I think, about Bray Wyatt's return before he, unfortunately passed away. It's just that I think that was actually the latest iteration of a Bray Wyatt character that was inevitably going to be dealing with, whatever we didn't get, which was going to come next with Uncle Howdy. So I think that this scared Bray Wyatt character was just that, was part of a character. And I think we were going to get more of that, and we didn't, unfortunately. But now we've been getting these creepy messages, and the commentators on the shows are referencing this stuff, saying like, oh, there's the QR codes are back or something, and saying like, you know what happened last time that happened. It's like, yeah, we do. Bray Wyatt came back. So
That's been a good element, I think, to the story. Is I kind of don't like when announcers don't comment on something after a while, because it's like they can watch the tape afterwards at least. Like maybe they don't see it live on the show, but like they can like watch and like read the internet. So like if everyone's talking about it, they should talk about it. So I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah, there should be an acknowledgement of at least certain things, right? Like if there's a big creepy guy standing in the background, somebody should be like, hey, there's a big creepy guy standing in the background.
Exactly.
You know? Which they did do. They did, and they showed this in the Twitch feed where there was somebody in the arena, whether it was Bo Dallas or Uncle Howdy or, you know, Sister Abigail. There was a hooded, shadowy figure in the arena that they spotlighted, and people noticed this. And then a clip of this individual ended up on that, you know, fateful Twitch stream. So there's all of these Easter eggs, and they are doing a great job with this, because I'm not sure if this is part of the sort of the new push to get, you know, let's say people outside of the wrestling world involved in the writing process. You know, there's a lot more folks in WWE now that, again, they're not from the, you know, closed-minded carny world of pro wrestling, so they have a lot more to offer story-wise, right? I'm just imagining, what are they going to do when these guys actually come out? Because they've already told you this stream was a horror movie in and of itself. It was extra kind of Easter egg type content where it was mostly nothing. It was mostly a cell phone vertical video of a chair. But think about it. Horror movies oftentimes try to like reinvent the genre to be scary, right? Like there's always a new horror movie with a new concept, trying to you know, be scary, because the same thing gets old after a while.
Yes.
And this is that. Think about it. A Twitch stream that you only knew was going to happen if you decoded Easter eggs that gave you the date and time and said plus which on a picture of a floppy disk that you only would have found if you scanned the QR code to get to that basically set of photos, which is just chilling, these photos, because there's a photo of a mirror and you don't know what it is until you watch that Twitch stream, and it's the mirror. It's a close-up photo, as if you were walking in somebody's house and you just took a close-up photo of their mirror.
Ugh.
And you don't know what it is until you see the stream and you realize it's the mirror behind this woman, right? So the Twitch stream starts and there's nothing going on. There's just a creepy little video. It's like, you know, all this stuff. And then she walks in and she's talking, and it's like a therapy session. And I kind of got the rhythm where she would ask a question. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? How do you feel about these things? Why do you do this? All these questions. And then you'd get these like jump cut things that would not necessarily answer the question, but that's kind of, you never, the person whose viewpoint you're looking through, they never really talk, but they do, like, you hear like crumpling up of paper and they're writing. And that was part of the photos. The photo set that came previously was all of these sayings that we've seen. You know, they set me free, I set them free. He is all of us. They opened the door. These are all on pieces of paper scattered about a house. And you realize that this is what's on these pieces of paper in this journal that this person is writing in as a way to communicate with their psychiatrist. So then, you know, you're getting these jump cuts. Like I said, there's these little glimpses you get where there's like other characters involved. There's definitely been a female, like Sister Abigail type hooded character that we've cut to a few times, right? Have you noticed that?
Yes.
And there's been numerous Wyatt family references, just hearkening back to just the lineage of the Wyatt family, Eric Rowan specifically. And then there's like newer characters. There's like a figure, and he kind of is like in a few different poses, and he's like a silhouette of like I don't know how to describe it. And it's just this mystery of who are these other people. So then the person starts to kind of give you these messages of they open the door, right? So this is a big one for me. They open the door. So what I think the situation here is, this is now my speculation, is that obviously, so Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas, right? Is it just that the character of Uncle Howdy is being played by Bo Dallas, just like the character of Isaac Yankem was played by Glenn Jacobs? That's not what I'm saying. Bo Dallas or Taylor Rotunda, this person that we've come to know on screen as, like I said, Bo Dallas and Taylor Rotunda. Uncle Howdy is them. Taylor Rotunda is Uncle Howdy. You know, from like it's like a being inside of him, or like a side of him, right?
Yes.
And they opened the door. Now this is where they open the door, is either they, as like the people, the fans, right, the WWE universe, they open the door back up to bring Uncle Howdy back by this reception that, you know, whatever. The documentary received, or he received, or after Bray Wyatt's death, there was this outpouring of emotion and support. They open the door. Or they open the door, meaning this faction that is going to, I think, you know, form. These people open the door for Uncle Howdy, right? These people that were already going to be a part of this open the door for Uncle Howdy, meaning Bray Wyatt is not here. The door, you know, they open the door for Uncle Howdy. And who do I think those people are? Well, definitely first round draft picks for this Wyatt 6, new Wyatt family, whatever you want to call it, is Eric Rowan, Nikki Cross, and Joe Gacy. These are my solid picks. There's obviously the other names of Dexter Lumis, who at this point I would probably guess yes. So there's other people. That's what I think they opened the door. And I was thinking Braun Strowman as well, but he's out here like just trying to fight whoever, right?
Yeah. Yep.
He's out here strutting around the ring like a... Did you see the way he was strutting on Raw last night?
He's feeling good.
He's just a weird dude. But we've got these other people, like I said, Rowan, Nikki Cross. To me, this is like a new Wyatt family. Like if I had to name them, I would name them the new Wyatt family, or just the Wyatt family.
Yeah, don't say the new. The new anything never works.
But that's kind of like what it is, because we're going back to Eric Rowan, and it's not necessarily a reboot like they tried with the actual Wyatt family, right? They just got rid of it and then just brought it right back. I do think this is like a new crew, and I think that we're going to find out more about them, because think about it. You have to give us more backstory and more of these characters' origins, because you've already given us so much backstory about this poor psychiatrist. This woman, 31-year-old psychiatrist, people are saying online she was also the Fiend's psychiatrist. And the way I look at that is, maybe it's supposed to be the character of the Fiend psychiatrist. It's supposed to be the same woman in character. It's not the same literal actress. It's not the same woman.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. And but I do think it's possible. It's also possible that it's just like they look the same, you know, when they just kind of, it's not really a thing, but it could be a thing if you want it to be. But yeah, but she is definitely Uncle Howdy's psychiatrist, and she's definitely missing, because 55 minutes I watched this Twitch feed, right? She leaves the room, she comes back. I'm getting scared out of my mind. I was alone in my house, and I'm telling you, if something hasn't scared me to my core like this, I don't know if I'm telling on myself here, but the first time when I was a kid, when I watched the movie The Ring, you know, the movie The Ring, not Beyond the Ring, The Ring. So, yes. And the scene where the chick finally comes out of the well and she crawls right up to the TV screen and she just starts coming right through the TV screen, that infamous, like, holy shit, scary scene, that one made me want to shut the movie off. I was so scared, right? And I don't really like horror movies. I don't like the whole jump scare. Stuff is like too scary for me. You know what I mean? So I tend not to, you know, because I don't want to be like walking in my car one night in the dark and I'm like, oh my God, is that Chucky? Huh?
Yes.
It's Pennywise.
Let me tell you, sometimes I actually, if I'm at a movie and it's late and it's dark and I go to the bathroom alone, I remember Scream for some reason, and I'm like, I'm gonna get murdered by someone hiding in the stall. Yeah,
I don't like believe in monsters. I'm like, you know what I think is this harkens back to is one of the scariest movies in my opinion. And I'm not a big horror buff, but I've seen all the Saw movies, okay, and Halloween, but but I'm not like a gore person. The scariest movie for me is the movie The Strangers. You know, I think it's just beyond scary. It like hits the nail on the head of everything you don't want to happen to you, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of, giving a little bit of The Strangers vibes, right? Except in the movie The Strangers, they kind of did it for no reason, all the murders. But in this case, there seems to maybe be motivation.
Yeah.
But this therapist, she's gone in the video. And then you just cut to, again, the creepy 50s style Nightbird, bleeding record player music. And then it cuts to an article where she goes missing. A 31-year-old psychiatrist with her name blacked out in the article. An article written by Wendy Lucho, which is an anagram for Uncle Howdy. So it kind of says, like, 31-year-old woman goes missing by essentially Uncle Howdy. That's how I read that.
Yes, yes.
So like I said, we're going to talk about this for as long as we need to. But, yeah, so that was the Twitch feed. She's missing. I don't know if she's going to be a character or not, but she's definitely just trying to do her job. She does her psychiatry practice out of her house. And not anymore, she doesn't, because they opened the door, and then Uncle Howdy kidnapped this lady, for sure. And it's just a matter of, was it all of them? Or because he says that the ending of this interaction with her is like, she's like, who are these people? And it's just like, ooh, creepy. And then it's like, do you want to meet them? It's like, God, no, I don't want to meet them. Please, no. Yes. And like, I'm watching Raw this past Monday after this feed happened, like over the weekend or last week, this Twitch stream. And I'm like watching it every frame of this show looking for Uncle Howdy business. Like, and there was, right in the beginning of the show, there was a QR code. It showed the newspaper article. Like I said, I didn't get to scan it quick enough. But I'll catch myself up later, hopefully. But yeah, now I'm in my basement, alone, a Cody Crybaby down here. And I don't like the noises that I'm hearing. So we're going to move on. But yes, I do think these folks, or at least Uncle Howdy, is going to debut at the King and Queen of the Ring. So I still hope that happens. And because really, you can't go on much longer with this. You've already kidnapped a woman. Like I said, you've given us all this backstory about a woman who has been kidnapped. It's just creepy.
I know. The thing is, like we were saying before we started recording, I think it's like, I love all this lore. I love the backstory. I love building up these characters. But it's like, they got to debut soon, because it's almost to the point where it's like, the only thing we can expect now is someone getting murdered. Like, it's like a horror movie, and we have to see someone die. Like, they're just wrestlers, guys.
Yeah, like
they get back.
These are wrestlers. Like, are like, allegedly, Nikki Cross, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy. They have finishing and signature moves. And it's not abducting people and murdering them and dismembering them and making their bodies never be recovered. Like, is that your finishing move, Dexter Lumis? People going missing?
Yeah. Nikki Cross was a superhero at one point, and Eric Rowan was at a pierogi dome at one point. So let's take it easy.
Eric Rowan is one of the biggest men I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, absolutely.
Doesn't even come across on TV. The man is gigantic.
Massive. But I hope that Uncle Howdy is, as you said, like, I hope we're kind of aware that it's Bo Dallas being Uncle Howdy. And if he's just recruiting people in like this crazy cult leader thing, I think we're good, even though it's going way over the line because a woman's abducted and this kind of thing. I think we can live with it. But who knows, though? Like, just let's debut and let's see where it goes. Or maybe just never debut and just always have QR codes and it's just a movie.
Yeah, like I said, do you want to meet them? Kind of no, I don't. I'm fucking scared.
Yeah.
No. Especially not when I'm alone at night trying to get into my car.
And I think you're right about the members, too. And I do think Dexter Lumis is almost 100% yes. And I hope Alexa Bliss is in there because I think she does good work with that kind of stuff. And she hasn't been around in years. I know she had a baby, and that's cool. But I'm assuming she wants to come back.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say about this whole Uncle Howdy, going back, I rewatched the Uncle Howdy, like his segments, the few segments that he had earlier from last year or whatever. And I will say that first entrance of Uncle Howdy, like, I really think that The Fiend is the best scary character ever made in wrestling, okay? The Fiend. From start to finish, crafting the character, the mask, the lore, all from the mind of Bray Wyatt. Like I said, The Fiend is top tier, the best, right? And Uncle Howdy, they did such a good job with his first ever walkout, because it's like you're watching these like jump cuts and there's these different masks and scary faces, but you don't know what it's going to be. You don't know, is it going to be another Fiend like Bray Wyatt where he shows up and attacks somebody, and it's like, or is he in the Firefly Funhouse? When Uncle Howdy that first walkout of Bray Wyatt is in the ring, I believe with LA Knight, and now that music, the Uncle Howdy music, was just perfect for a scary wrestling character to walk out to, because it's got this rhythm that you can kind of walk to, just like the Brood music, and he's coming out and he's doing this like weird, like he's like playing with like a watch or something, and it's just, he comes out and he like tips his hat, and then when he walks out again, when he actually comes out and gets in the ring, it's like this was great, right? So I did appreciate those entrances from Uncle Howdy. And then I will say once again, for the record, that the Bray Wyatt's music upon his latest return before his, like I said, untimely passing was the worst music ever. Because I listened to it again recently.
Yeah.
Just, no, it does not. I was right the whole time. It was terrible. So, yeah. All right, so let's talk about some actual wrestling here. So, Kris, have you been following along with the King and Queen of the Ring tournament?
Yes, it's been pretty fun.
My pick to win it, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, nice.
King.
I'm going with King Bam Bam. Yeah.
No, I mean, this has been probably my favorite King of the Ring tournament in, like, probably since, like 93, right? Bam Bam Bigelow and Bret the Hitman Hart. Because these matches, I felt like they have made them all matter. Like, this isn't some throwaway King of the Ring tournament. I remember in years past, I would ask myself, why would I ever care about this at certain King of the Ring, tournaments?
Yeah.
They just did not give it a lot of high regard. It was sort of a B mid-card thing, and it was just, but this one, they're showing the wrestlers, preparing for it. We're getting like these promos ahead of time. Everybody has a stake, it seems, in winning and a reason to win. And when you can imagine each, your favorite wrestler, if they were to win King of the Ring, it's like a title, right? It's like a championship, as opposed to just a gimmick that they have to walk out with, like King Barrett or King Corbin, right?
Yeah.
So I loved it. And the matches have been awesome as well. And you know what I like especially about these brackets is they had opportunities to give you these big matchups, like Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther, right? Like Jade versus Bianca. And they didn't give them to you, because that would be too perfect. And this is supposed to be a tournament, right? And the tournament just shakes out whoever wins. It's not always your dream matchups.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes, yes, I love it too, because you like in years past you'd see the bracket and you go, "This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen," and then it would happen.
Yeah.
And this year you're like, "Oh, who knows?"
Yeah. You have coming into this basically the final four on each side, the men's and women's. Any four or any eight of these people I thought could have won, right? So on the men's side, you have Gunther, Jey Uso, Randy Orton, and Tama Tonga. Okay, granted, Tama Tonga definitely the dark horse pick in this group, right?
Yeah.
But I could see Randy Orton winning this King of the Ring tournament. Obviously, we can see Gunther winning. I wasn't sure about Jey Uso. You know what I mean? Like, I thought there was a path of Jey Uso being King of the Ring for sure.
I thought he was going to honestly be the King of the Ring. Yes.
I mean, and when you really think about it, now that Gunther has beat Jey Uso, Tama Tonga is kind of off my radar. But if Jey Uso is in the finals, I mean, Tama Tonga going to the finals, that seems possible. And then, obviously, I mean, you don't know. Maybe he could have beat him. But so what I mean is they're making it believable and interesting, and really just I wanted to know with each match who was going to win, And then on the women's side, we've got the final four: Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria, Nia Jax, and Bianca Belair. So, and again, obviously, Lyra to me would be the dark horse pick here.
I like. If we're gonna get deep into the brackets now too, I think you're right. Lyra is the dark horse, but I think she should win because why are you doing tournaments like this unless you're gonna try and build someone? And since it's shaking out this way, I think she should win. I don't think you want to go to Jade and the Bianca like splitting up yet, so I wouldn't say that Bianca's gonna win and like Jade will mistakenly cost her the match. But you can do something like that where it's not that. I just think Lyra winning is good to build it up, and so I'm happy about that. On the men's side, I don't know who's gonna win. Gunther maybe is my. I like Randy Orton and we love him, but I mean, does Randy Orton really need to win another thing? So I hope it's not him. And Gunther is just a man, so like that's another like another feather in his cap, and then that could lead to his maybe world title run.
Yeah, and just to get into the brackets a little bit further, the Lyra piece of this, I am not sure yet as far as the whole booking philosophy again, because I got the book right here, folks. I got this book, right? I got
Flip
this
it open.
pen, clicky pen, ready to book, and I'm not sure if this new regime, because it's not just Triple H. It can't be one man making every decision here, move by move in these matches, right? And obviously that's going to be like the agents and stuff. But are they trying to book people to look good even in defeat? Someone like Lyra Valkyria. Because why would you put this newcomer to the main roster, this like surprise draft pick from NXT? I mean, she's definitely talented, she's definitely worthy of being on the main roster. But why would you elevate her to this stage so quickly if you're not going to go all the way and have her win? Well, the answer would be because you plan on still making her look good in defeat. So it's like, are you doing that with Lyra? Because that would kind of change things for me. Like Gunther, right? Gunther and Randy Orton, let's say, go to the finals. Well, obviously you want Gunther to win because he's the younger guy. Randy Orton's the old veteran. Like you just said, you don't need to see him win another thing. But is it possible to make that where Randy Orton wins, but Gunther still comes out looking good? Is that what they are going to do with people? Like, are you going to elevate someone to what is equivalent to a second place? Or are you just elevating them to be the biggest jobber, essentially, right? You see how there's like two different ways of doing it there?
Oh, yeah. I think, and I think Triple H has started, and whatever, like you said, whatever's on his writing crew, I think they've kind of started proving that they can do that. I mean, Chad Gable is as pushed as ever, and he has not won in a while, right? But looks like a star. And Tiffany Stratton has not been winning a lot. She hasn't been losing a lot, but like she looks like a star. So yeah, I think you're right. Maybe you're right. I think Lyra might not win, but I do think that they have proven that if she loses, it won't be like some squash or some stupid thing, and she'll come out looking good.
Okay, keep going.
Oh, you gotta write that. And then, like, I mean, on the if we're going on the men's side, I mean, it's hard. You're right. I mean, Randy Orton could win. Maybe that's the thing that you have Randy Orton win and Gunther. I mean, there's other stories you can do. We already know Gunther's amazing, so like he could be pissed off that he's like, I don't know, quote unquote losing streak, or Randy Orton is the winner and then he goes on to face like Cody Rhodes next, and that's the way they set up Cody's next opponent. Yeah.
So as far as how I think this thing's going to shake out, we are recording this after Monday Night Raw, before SmackDown. So we don't know the final. We don't know Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga winner, and we don't know Nia Jax versus Bianca Belair. Like I said, as of this recording, we know Gunther has beaten Jey Uso. Gunther is going to the finals against either Randy Orton or Tama Tonga. I'm going to go ahead and predict that I'll say he's going to the finals against Randy Orton, but I'll ultimately say it doesn't really matter because I think Gunther is going to win the King of the Ring.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Women's side, we know Lyra Valkyria has upset Io Sky, and we don't know, so she's going to face either Nia Jax or Bianca Belair. Now, I am not sure what match you want for Lyra Valkyria in the finals. I would go with Bianca. Tough sell having Lyra beat Bianca, but that's where, to me, it's a coin flip. If it's Lyra or Bianca, you're either looking at, it's like, does the best in the world win, or does the new, the new talent win? And either way, you could go. So, but watch. Saying all this, I'm sure Nia Jax is going to win.
I mean, I think if Nia Jax somehow beats Bianca, somehow. I mean, Nia Jax is doing pretty good work lately, so I don't want to like downplay her. But like, if she beats Bianca and it's Nia and Lyra, I think Nia's winning, because I don't think if you're gonna have Lyra lose but still make her look good, I think you need Bianca to be in that match. I don't think Nia Jax can like work that well to make her opponent look good in defeat. So I think that'll be telling to see whoever wins that.
Yeah, we'll see. It smells like fire down here now too, so now I'm getting really creeped out.
You shouldn't have said his name so much. All right.
So yeah, I guess if I had to make a prediction, I'm gonna pick Lyra to win, because like I said, why would you bring her this far? And secondly, just as far as a Queen gimmick goes, I don't know about a Queen Bianca gimmick right now. She's kind of with Jade as a tag team. I don't know what being Queen. I mean, obviously she's the best overall, I think, out of the three remaining, choices. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with Lyra Valkyria, Queen of the Ring.
I mean, but look at this. At least they've been doing a good enough job where we don't know who's going to win, and there's a lot of opportunities for paths for where they're going to go. Like in years past, we would just know exactly who's going to win, like what kind of corny match it was going to be, and they were going to come out with a crown and be stupid for like 6 months. But now it's going to be taken seriously. Even if Lyra wins and she's the Queen of the Ring, she's not going to have a scepter. Maybe she'll have a scepter, but I don't think so. It won't be like forced upon someone, so that's good.
Yeah. So I want to talk about a few of the other matches coming up on the King and Queen of the Ring. We'll get to Cody and Logan Paul in a second, but one thing I want to talk about is just how much of a disappointment Wrestling Fan Kris is to me on this podcast. He is the biggest disappointment out of anyone in the world. The biggest disappointment in the world. Gosh, can you think of a more cold-hearted thing to say to someone? Chad Gable?
Don't worry, I'll still help you win the match, okay?
Yeah, and he'll still help me win the match. Because he has bad ethics like Otis. Yeah. Now, Chad Gable being a real asshole lately, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, he is.
And I think it's amazing.
He's great.
He gives me that, like, asshole wrestling coach vibe, I'm not saying he actually is an asshole of a coach, but he plays a very good asshole coach.
Yes, he does.
Like a gym teacher who like doesn't like you at all.
I know.
He's like, why are you even here?
It's like the natural evolution of the Alpha Academy too, is for him to kind of be like a pissed off, coach who like can't really make it. I like it. It makes sense.
Yeah, and obviously he's great in the ring. Did you see that Perk Angle sign on Raw? Or I'm sorry, Perk Gable.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about how much of an asshole Chad Gable is. Do you think Chad Gable is going to win the Intercontinental title at King and Queen of the Ring?
I hope he does. I don't think he's gonna. I think this is when Otis kind of splits off from him. I don't think they're gonna stretch it out much longer. Yeah,
he's alienating his students.
But he matters, and he's gonna put on good matches, and eventually he will win the Intercontinental title, and he will have a Gunther long reign. I think. Sorry, Sami Zayn, we love you, but
I think he's gonna win.
Hope he does. I actually like care. Like I want him to win, like I'm a kid again. Like I'm rooting for Hulk Hogan to win or something, or someone better than that, Macho Man. I'm like, I really want him to win.
Chad Gable is a very off-putting heel right now, and you're not supposed to want that.
Okay, you're right. So I take it back.
You're rooting for the wrong guy here. That guy's a dick, Chris.
Yeah, you're right.
That's not a nice guy, Chris. You shouldn't. You want to emulate him? Gosh. Yeah, so I just want to talk about that one match really quick. And we are going to talk a little bit about Cody and Logan Paul. What do you think of this matchup, Chris? Cody and Logan Paul.
Man, I think they do a great job so far. They have done a great job of... I mean, is it great? I guess it's not great, but I like it. The opponents that Cody's had so far, like I think in other years, like when Daniel Bryan finally won the title, and then he goes into a feud with Kane right away, or when people we really want to win the title, then go into some like long feud, even if it's just a month or two with someone that we don't really care about. I think it's worse than just having like fun matches. Like, oh, AJ, that's a fun match. Oh, Logan Paul, this will be fun. And it kind of extends the reign a little bit. I don't think it's been boring. I don't think it's been off. I think it's fun, and I think they do a great job of in other countries. They give them what they want. I mean, honestly, like, are you mad that you're in France and you're getting AJ Styles versus Cody? Are you gonna be mad in Saudi Arabia that you get Logan Paul against Cody? Of course not. But you don't. But then you don't have to like do a deep dive like story for these other ones. So I kind of like it so far.
Yeah, I think that it's a good matchup for Cody to be the really easy guy to root for, right? Logan Paul is just standing there being annoying.
Great point.
You know, very antagonistic heel. His guys can come in and do their shenanigans with the... I mean, how many of these guys do you think are going to go to Saudi Arabia with Logan Paul? How many of his entourage? You know? But yeah, the brass knuckles, the prime. Maybe we'll see I Show Speed again in Saudi Arabia. Doubtful. But, you know, you could just do whatever you want with Logan Paul, and then Cody finds a way to overcome it all, you know.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's also... you don't have to put like a deep build to a heel character to face Cody when you have Logan Paul. So that's a great point. So I think that's pretty smart.
Yeah, I'm kind of, well, it would have been cool if this was a title for title match, but I will acknowledge that there would have been nowhere to go with Cody with that U.S. title, you know?
Oh, he'd have to like drop it like the Ultimate Warrior did when he won the title.
Yeah,
and he was the title champion.
Because you couldn't have him lose. Like, that would be the worst thing. If he, like, you know, because you could... Seth Rollins had them both at the same time. You could theoretically have the champion, you know. You wrestle, maybe, you know, you wrestle a returning Seth Rollins for the U.S. title. Seth Rollins beats Cody. You just can't do it. You can't do that. With that World WWE World Championship, or at this point, it's just the WWE Championship again. But, yeah, you can't really do that at this juncture. So you thus... You can't double up on the titles again with somebody, because otherwise you'd have a Roman Reigns situation where you're merging the belts and then trying to separate them and then merging them and then, you know.
Then you make up a new belt.
Then you merge that one and no. So it would have been cool, title for title, but this is good enough, I guess. We'll see how many stars we get out of this one, because AJ versus Cody was a 5-star match in Lyon, France, and I thought that was great. So we'll see. You know, wouldn't it be funny if Cody becomes like the champion known for his like amazing matches?
That would be awesome. Yes. I mean, we know Logan Paul's going to go in there and do some fun stuff. As much as we both hate him, and I know we do, we know he's going to go in there and do some good stuff.
You know what's crazy is Cody and Nick Aldis wrestled at the first All In, and they're both on SmackDown.
You know what? That is crazy. I've never really put that together. That's nuts.
Run it back. Cody and Nick Aldis, where's the pen? Book it, Cody.
Could you imagine?
Nick Aldis. Why not?
How is the story going to go to that though?
I mean, you just build. No, I think that Nick Aldis should wrestle, but it should be one of those like, you piss me off so much that I'm going to take off this suit and like beat your ass kind of a, you know, the good guy kind of a thing, not like I'm wrestling the babyface champion.
I like that. Put that in the notebook. Get the pen out. That's a good one.
We'll book it. I mean, that one's been booked for a while. Nick Aldis wrestling, because who would he come back against, right? It's like, it would be a heel, right? So you could have done Nick Aldis versus Roman Reigns, folks. You had that.
Well, maybe Nick Aldis is the first victim of the Uncle Howdy's.
Yeah, we didn't really discuss predictions as far as Uncle Howdy's going to come out, right? Who's he going to attack here? There hasn't been nobody's been victimized or mysterious, you know, just this poor psychiatrist who was kidnapped. So we don't know who they're going to, you know, it could be Cody. That would be interesting. Sort of a supernatural feud, right, for Cody. I don't think it's the right time for that. I mean, I would be fine with it, but I think we're going to get Uncle Howdy in kind of a... I mean, Jey Uso's not even on this card, and he's the only one that mentioned the Fireflies recently.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe, well, I mean, you could still... Randy Orton could be... So you could still interfere in this men's final of the King of the Ring with the Uncle Howdy crew.
Oh, that's a good place to put it, I think. Yeah, I think you're right.
But
Randy Orton's a good one. I think Randy Orton is a good place to start. That's a good point. I hope they do that.
So let's talk about some AEW stuff, folks. We've been talking about WWE this whole show, I feel like. Another show going down this weekend. We have AEW Double or Nothing, the in-ring debut of Mercedes Moné, another Anarchy in the Arena, and Swerve versus Christian Cage. What more could you ask for? So let's talk about this one a little bit. Is there a match on this card, Chris, that you are looking forward to the most?
Oh, man. So, like, I think purely wrestling-wise, I kind of like Ospreay and Roderick Strong, to be honest with you. Takeshita and Moxley will be good, too. But I think the most fun match is going to be the Anarchy in the Arena. Honestly. And I love Swerve, and they're probably going to put... Actually, every match looks good on paper, but the one I'm looking forward to the most, I think, is probably Anarchy in the Arena. It's always fun.
I mean, we've got Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. This one has been built very good, I think.
Yeah.
This whole Chuck... I mean, they haven't really even talked about Chuck Taylor a lot and his potential career ending. I mean, they kind of just wrote him off TV. But Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, no longer best friends, folks. And this is a pay-per-view match. Then we have a match. Chris Jericho versus... What is it, basically? I mean... This is how I would book this match. Chris Jericho versus Brian Keith. Brian Keith wins the FTW championship. That's how I'd book it. But that's not going to happen. So it's probably going to be Jericho versus Hook.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
For the FTW gimmick that Jericho has now. Moxley versus Takeshita. So this is weird to me. Like, you should have just made this one for the IWGP Championship. Why is this a title eliminator on a pay-per-view? This is the pay-per-view. This is what we're paying for. We should have the title match.
Great point, yes.
You gonna put this one on Rampage? If it's, Defend the IWGP title on Sunday Night Heat? But yes, I am also looking forward to Roderick Strong versus Will Ospreay. I mean, this could be match of the night right here.
Oh, it's going to be great. I mean, this is like, oh man, I forget the show. I'm sorry, I forgot the show. But remember the show that kind of looked weak on paper last year, and every match wasn't that great, like build wise, but every match delivered. That's this show, and there's some good build, like you said, with the best friends and everything. So it's gonna be a good show, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it is curious because I just listed off some matches. I mean, from here on up, it's essentially all matches that really could headline the show. I mean, maybe you don't headline it with Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb, but you've got Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné.
Oh, yeah.
This is a big match. I'm interested to see if the buzz around Mercedes goes up after she wrestles, or if it just doesn't change.
You think, man, I know. I know all the discourse in some corners of the world is that she like is much better as a heel, and that like she's like forcing babyfacedom. Am I right? Or is that just a small sect? I'm hearing that. So I hope it does when she wrestles, she'll be like a little bit more loved, because I love her the most. So I hope they get behind her a little more.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say Mercedes Moné wins the TBS title here.
I agree.
Then we have an interesting one. This is a really good matchup. Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black.
Absolutely.
And it's a barbed wire steel cage match for the TNT Championship. So,
man, I would hope. I mean, Copeland's doing good work, but it'd be a huge win for Malachi Black.
Yeah,
huge.
I feel like obviously Malachi needs the win. I don't know if they want to take the title off of Adam Copeland.
I don't think so
at this
either.
Juncture. Curious to see how they do in the barbed wire steel cage.
It'll be great. It'll be bloody as hell.
I'm also curious to see if, House of Black gets involved. Or
But there's a cage. Come on.
Or the House of Cope. We haven't seen anybody from the House of Cope. So, like I said, Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb. I mean, this could be match of the night as well.
Oh, yeah.
Depending on what they want to do.
Yeah.
So, we got this Anarchy in the Arena match, which, folks, is always a sensory overload and an overstimulating plunder. just a plunder.
Plunder.
So we've got the Young Bucks, Okada, and Jack Perry, who is cool again, Jungle Boy is cool again, folks. I mean, he's actually kind of back to not being cool again. But versus Bryan Danielson and his injured C6-7 and C7-21.
Oh, man.
And Darby Allin with his injured foot and nose against FTR. Which, I don't know if Dax is injured currently, but I know he loves the wrestling business. I know that Daniel, his charges were dropped, so that's good. Clears his path for more anarchy.
Yeah. Love the way they did that, too.
Yeah, they said not guilty. It wasn't not guilty. Not guilty is when a jury finds you not guilty.
Yeah.
The charges were dropped. That's not the same thing.
Way different.
They could be brought back up. You know? But yeah, the charges have been dropped, so I guess we're okay.
Do you think that this Daniel Bryan injury is, Bryan Danielson injury is real? You think it's as bad as he makes it seem? Because like, if it is, he should just retire. Like, come on, man.
I know that's the bad part. Is I do, and you're right. Yeah. So it's bad, I think, because he's talking about it when everyone else is already injured. You know, it's just, and can we say it at this point, especially with Darby being in this match? So Darby Allin, what did he break his foot against Jay White a week before he was supposed to climb Mount Everest? So he broke his foot a few months ago. Okay. Broken foot. I mean, we don't know type of fracture. I could probably Google it, but we don't, not saying it's irresponsible for him to come back with a broken foot. It could be. Probably is. But it's not default, people come back from, stuff early. And then he gets hit by a bus, for fuck's sake. Okay? Hit by a bus. Which Brody King copped to being the driver of, if you saw that. But
hell yeah.
He said you shouldn't have been standing there. But no, nonetheless, Darby Allin, hit by a bus. And somehow broke his nose. Like, don't you, when you get hit by a bus, don't you, like, turn into a pancake? How did you only break your nose on a bus?
I know, that's lucky.
Like, it sucks, but Jesus Christ. So he's hit by a bus, busts up his nose. And he's still got he's like Virgil out here with the nose padding on. And it's not a gimmick. He's like dashing Cody Rhodes.
Yes, he is.
Like, who else
Perfect.
wore what was that basketball player who wore didn't Jermaine O'Neal wear, like, a face mask for a while?
Jermaine O'Neal, Rip Hamilton.
Yeah, Rick Hamilton, famous Hollywood actor.
That's right.
Yeah, so Darby's going to be coming out. I hope he wears the nose brace. Now, here's the thing, is can we just say at this point, these guys in AEW are wrestling injured. And I've heard Dave Meltzer say, oh, well, they wrestle injured on both sides. In WWE, Seth Rollins, perfect example, WrestleMania, both nights, he needed surgery. Remember when he got injured and he was going to be out for WrestleMania?
Yeah.
He didn't get better. He just kept going, right? So fair enough. Seth Rollins, injured. You're right. But this, to me, seems like you're announcing a full-on injury that you have not chronologically had enough time to recover from. CM Punk, back in the day, complained about having to come back to AEW injured. Remember? He said, I'm not cleared. And he was whining about that.
Yes.
Right? He came back anyways against Moxley at that point. Because remember, he broke his foot doing a stage dive. Came back like a month later or whatever.
Yep.
Very soon. Right? So, we've got Darby coming back now. It's like, I can't say this is responsible, And yes, people, I think there's also a difference between people wrestling hurt and being legitimately injured. And I know that means that if everybody were to sit out who is legitimately, quote unquote, injured, nobody would be on TV. There'd be no wrestlers. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's injured. Everybody's nursing an injury. I get it. But at the same time, I don't feel like we should encourage people to come back like way too early, because as much as we want to see our favorite wrestler back in action soon, and as much as they want to be back in the ring so they don't lose their steam or whatever, I don't want to encourage that, because there's like long-term effects of not, properly rehabbing yourself and not giving yourself enough time to heal. I'd rather have a wrestler have longevity or just mobility in their own life than them rush back too soon. When you hear, the doctors are telling me it's supposed to be 9 months and I'm going to be back in 6. Okay, that's fine. If the doctors are really telling you that, if you're really going to physical therapy and they're saying you're ahead of schedule, that's one thing.
Yeah.
If you're out here with your bandaged up nose, that's another thing. And I mean, I know exactly a nose injury. The reason why I was able to list off so many people who have worn face masks is because you got to keep going, right? Like Pac had a broken nose too. All these people have wrestled with the busted up nose because it's very easy to happen, right? You can bust up your nose.
Oh yeah.
And then like you said, you just can't sit out. But I'm just saying in general, I don't think Darby should have been in this match because there's so many people you could have picked that don't have a broken nose and foot.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
Like it's Team AEW, so you need a good guy. So you're not going to call Sammy Guevara, right? It's got to be an AEW kind of like banner waving good guy. So maybe, you don't get Ricky Starks, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, maybe but there's somebody. I don't know who, man, but like, let's look at the roster here. Was Alex Reynolds injured? No, just kidding. There's an Alex Reynolds action figure out finally.
Oh, nice. There you go.
So I'm just going to list off some people who not really injured that I know of that are maybe big enough on their own to have possibly been in this match that are also baby faces. I'm going to go down the roster.
Hell yeah.
Cole Carter?
When I think of Cole Carter, I think AEW, yes.
No, that's as far as I've gotten in the list on alphabetical without being able to find anybody yet. So, okay, we're up to Darby Allin. Got to the D's. Dax is already in the match. Dustin Rhodes he's on the roster still. I mean, he's a possibility. Eddie Kingston, originally the choice in this match, out. Unfortunately, he's going to be out the rest of the year, it seems like. Sad for him. I just hope, again, heal up, right? Take the time to heal up.
Yes, yes,
Edward.
please.
I mean, theoretically, you could have put Hook in this match. Especially with Jack Perry on the other side. Jeff Jarrett would have been a solid troll move. I mean, all the problem is that a lot of these guys are in factions, like John Moxley. You could have, he's the IWGP champion. Maybe you don't put him on Team AEW.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega, he's unavailable. Yeah, I think I see their problem here. I'm going down the roster. There's just not enough names here that are baby faces. Like, you've got like Mark Briscoe. He could have been a choice, right? But again, not exactly AEW.
Yeah.
Be funny if you picked Max Caster.
Yeah, definitely not.
Could have, MJF, he's got multiple injuries. He's not a choice, I guess.
What's Hangman doing? That would be my pick.
My pick would have been Orange Cassidy, to be honest, because that seems he's definitely AEW. He's AEW's greatest ever champion. Come on.
That's good, yeah.
But I know he's in the match with Trent, but come on. Orange in this match would have been great. Penta. What is Penta doing? Is Penta injured? To me, Penta screams AEW. And he's also main event worthy. Why isn't Penta in this match? Penta in the arena. Come on. Why aren't we doing this? That's the choice. That's my pick right there. Pentagon.
I think it's better than Darby Allin. You're right. Good point. Good choice.
Like I said, you can't
only because Darby got hit by a bus. If he was fine, Darby's the best pick. But Take it easy.
Well, that's what I mean, is that Darby shouldn't have been a pick from an injured Eddie Kingston to go to an injured Darby Allin.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I'm looking at this roster, and, like, unless you're really trying to, like, you're going to put Wardlow in the match or surprise with, like, a Will Ospreay, like, like, just pick a guy. Yeah, I see the spot they were in because I just went down the whole roster, and not a lot of guys fit that bill that are available. You know?
Yeah, I mean, maybe in a match like this, Darby can, like, do a couple bumps and be away for a little bit, you know? Because it's not, like, just in the ring and everyone's going to be looking at just him. So maybe you take a couple bumps, relax, rest for a little bit, take another bump. I
mean, it's possible. I mean, Santana got injured really bad in the Blood and Guts match. Bryan Danielson took a camera to the face, I believe, in the last Anarchy in the Arena. He got a concussion. So these guys definitely do go all out in these matches. So the potential for further injury is obviously there. And we're talking about Darby Allin. Obviously, Danielson also says he's injured. He says he needs surgery. So he says that he's just been taking all these moves like a brain buster and a Frankensteiner, and it's just he can name the moves that are making him feel worse. He says he has a compression of the nerve root at C67 and C721, a shooting pain that goes down his arm that won't go away, and that his doctor is telling him that he needs surgery. He needs to keep his strength in his right hand. You know, like, I just don't want to be a party to someone like Bryan Danielson worsening a bad injury. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I want to see Bryan Danielson, for one, I mean, his career is obviously coming to an end soon, especially because of these injuries. But, yeah, I don't need to see it at the expense of... I don't want to have this guilt of, like, oh, he's wrestling with numbness in his hand because, you know, I want to see him wrestle. It's like... you know, that's the other thing is when these guys are so clearly injured and they're right out in front of you on TV. Well, what does that say about the guys who are not less injured, but like Danielson, where he's got 5 or 6 things going wrong, and MJF, he had hip injury, all this stuff, right? So it just kind of makes you think, like, not just the guys with named injuries that they're still suffering and still recovering from, kind of showing back up too early, but it just, what does that say about the way people treat their lingering injuries, you know? Yep. So, I don't know. I think I would like to see a little bit less of injured folks on TV in AEW. For one, because I want them to heal up and not get further injured. And 2, your character kind of suffers if you keep coming out on TV in a wheelchair, right? Because look at Adam Cole. He came out a bunch of times in that wheelchair, and now everybody's saying, oh, this whole devil Undisputed Kingdom gimmick is not interesting. It's like, yeah, because he can't do anything. Same thing with Mercedes. She's on TV all these weeks, and she's just kind of standing there. She can't do it. She's not cleared. So, to me, there's an element of you kind of got to go away to get the big comeback, for one. And 2, we don't need people out here, you know, breaking their spines and stuff.
Definitely not. Please don't.
There's your finger wag of the show. But I'm sure they're going to go nuts in this Anarchy in the Arena, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yeah.
So, and then, so I don't know what show is going to headline this card, but we got Swerve and Christian, and I think this is a great matchup. I think it was great that the Young Bucks kind of just took over AEW Dynamite one night and said, hey, Swerve, we're going to introduce you to your next opponent. And it was just Christian, just an asshole. Like, okay, cool. Like, oh, just this guy, he doesn't deserve it. He wasn't, you know, in title contention. I mean, yeah, he lost the title to Edge, the TNT title, but he kind of came out of nowhere, and I like that. But I also like how they recalled Swerve, you know, going to Nick Wayne's gym and attacking him with a picture, and then Nick Wayne comes back and attacks Swerve with a picture.
Yeah, that's great.
And did you see Swerve just bleeding out of the side of his head? Like, just bleeding, just squirting blood out of the side of his head because of a cut from a picture frame.
Oh, yes, insane.
And also, did you see Nick Wayne doing the Swerve finisher? Oh my God. Nick Wayne is such an incredible wrestler. Nick Wayne is an X-Man, and his power is being able to do anyone's wrestling move perfectly.
Hell yeah, that's good. That's good.
Like, he is just out here, and Jungle Boy was doing the same thing with doing like CM Punk moves and stuff. But Nick Wayne is a prodigy in wrestling, And just the way he just does other people's moves so perfectly is incredible, I think. And he's not on this card on Double or Nothing, but maybe Nick Wayne should have been on Team AEW.
Yeah, that would be, yeah.
He could have done all Darby's moves. All right, so I'm looking forward to Double or Nothing. I think it's going to be a good show. I hope they pull out a big show because, let's face it, they do kind of need it at this point. AEW needs to make a splash again, somehow, some way, with something. There's very few people out there that they can sign. There's no more Adam Cole, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Mercedes, Okada, Will Ospreay. They're all already here, obviously except Phillip. But they've got a few people out there that are kind of floundering, like this Young Bucks. I mean, they gave a TK driver to TK, and it didn't really bump up the ratings. Tony Khan was out here on the NFL draft wearing a neck brace.
I know.
Didn't really move the needle. We had Shad Khan in the ring, for God's sakes. So they got to kind of come out with something. And whether it's a return, maybe somebody returns. But again, don't return if you're not ready. Mr. Friedman.
Yes.
Mr. Hangman.
Please.
Whoever. No. But yeah, I think that AEW's been suffering from a little bit of malaise, we could say at least, right?
Yeah, they are.
So we'll see if they try to take kind of like any type of a change in direction. I'm sure the in-ring matches are going to be amazing as usual, and I'll be watching. Might go to the bathroom during that Jericho match.
That's the bathroom match, definitely.
All right, but before we get out of here, and we are coming back with the post-show, folks, for our patrons, for Patreon. On the post-show this week, we are going to be reviewing the Iron Claw, folks, the deadliest move in professional wrestling. Now, the movie, The Iron Claw, Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White. What's that dude's name? McKinney. What's his name? McKellen. Hoyt. McKinney. Can you tell I don't have the IMDb page pulled up? But we are going to talk about the movie The Iron Claw. Myself, Wrestling Fan Kris, finally got around to streaming that sucker. And we're going to review it on the post show today. So check that out on Patreon, or probably like next week on the main channel. But yes, before we go any farther, we have a question that needs answering. And we are ready to answer it. Folks, myself, Wrestling Fan Kris, we go to Blitzkrieg Pro shows. And we went to the return of Blitzkrieg Pro to the House of Pierogies. The old country banquet hall. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
A couple weeks ago, at this point. This was a great show. This was pure bedlam in Enfield, Connecticut. Was it not, Wrestling Fan Kris?
It was amazing, yes.
Broken doors, broken ring ropes.
Oh, man.
Broken people.
Chairs just everywhere.
And folks, this wrestling business is our life, okay? And I will tell you why right now. Because if you ever watched the show Heels, you got the Spade brothers running around town. Wrestling is their life. Everywhere they go, they're interrupted with wrestling. I mean, I go to the barbershop. I get scoops about certain wrestlers when I get my hair cut, people. Okay? I'm standing outside of a show, okay? We're in Enfield during intermission. We're standing outside of the House of Pierogies, myself and Wrestling Fan Kris, just getting some fresh air. I'm trying to explain to Wrestling Fan Kris that when I was in Canada at a Tim Hortons in Niagara Falls, a random dude came up to me and told me that he is friends with Sean Spears. Okay? And I'm asking Wrestling Fan Kris, like, what do you think of this? Isn't this? And as this is happening, a dude just walks briskly right past us on the sidewalk on the streets of Enfield, just wearing a lucha mask. And it was like one of those moments where, like, when you're watching a movie or a TV show, and they show you something, and they kind of pique your interest, and you want to know what was in that box, what was behind that door, and then they just take you off into the next scene, and you kind of forget about that thing until it comes back up later, right? This dude just walks briskly past us in a lucha mask, and I was doing that thing where you're kind of trying to think of something funny to say, and you're kind of thinking of like 5 things at once, and the moment just passes, and I'm thinking to myself like, oh, these are all the thoughts that went through my head in one split second. Okay, Chris? The masked wrestling fan walks past us, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't remember seeing that dude here earlier in the show. And then I thought of like other wrestling fans that I know that I see around with masks on. And then I even thought to myself, man, what if one of these masked fans is like actually like a shooter, like a serial killer or something, and they're like, we're thinking they're just normal fans, and they're hiding their identity.
Yep.
And then I thought to myself, he's wearing a blue mask. I wonder who is that, a mask of anybody in particular? Do we got the Blue Demon Jr. here? Just thinking of funny stuff to say to Chris about the dude just walking past us wearing a mask. Couldn't think of anything funny. I just looked at him and kind of just went back to my conversation with Wrestling Fan Kris. We go back inside the show, and we see, this wrestling fan wearing a mask. He's hanging out. The dude showed up in the middle of the show, off the streets, went through the front door. Just walked right by us. And, there's some wrestling matches. There's some gimmick matches. We get the Sweeper comes out, our favorite, the Sweeper. He comes out for a match. He's got his broom. He gives his broom to the wrestling fan wearing the mask. This guy's hyped up. He's got the broom. Was the Sweeper there to actually wrestle Kirby? Was that the match? Was Sweeper versus Kirby?
No, I think he was just out there. Was it? No, yeah, it was. Yes. Yeah, he wrestled Kirby. Yep.
Former babyface wrestler in Blitzkrieg Pro, Kirby Wackerman, has since decided to take a heel turn. Kirby, dog collar match legend.
That's right.
Has turned heel, apparently. He did this at a show that we went to in Springfield, Massachusetts a couple of months ago, where the Sandman was actually there, and he turned heel on his tag team partner, Delightful Dan the Goddamn Candyman. And I don't know how to search on Cage Match, folks.
Actually, just I believe, not to be a jerk, but I think they actually broke up in a Westfield show we went to, and then they had their match.
Oh yeah, you're right. They had like a dysfunctional tag team in Westfield. Kirby got sick of it, and he didn't appreciate Dan the Candyman like blowing the match. So Kirby turned on him. At the time, he kind of like almost joined the Shook crew, but they're not really heels anymore. They're like baby faces. So we get heel Wackerman comes out. Kirby comes out with this like pink jacket on. He's cutting a heel promo.
I just want to say, before you can continue, I just want to say that Kirby is doing great heel work. I love it. Fans, not receptive to it, and I don't like it. Kirby is doing great heel work. Stamp it.
I thought that right when he was cutting that promo into the camera. I'm like, this dude is a great heel. He's coming out here. He's got a long kind of monologue,
Yes.
And then during the match, this masked fan, he's got the Sweeper's broom, and he comes over and he just cracks Kirby with the broom.
Out of control.
It's crazy. This crazy fan. Turns out, folks, it was no fan who walked past us on the street. It was Dan the Goddamn Candyman. Can you believe this?
No, I was shocked, actually.
Does Cage Match not have Blitzkrieg cards on here? Did you find it?
Not a Cage Match, but your link has the Fightful report.
Oh, that's what I was... Oh, I forgot this one was on Fightful. I mean, I was there. I should know this. But yeah, folks, just to say, we're outside a wrestling show having a chat about wrestling, and there's an angle popping off right in front of us. Loved it. Great stuff.
It was great.
So yeah, so that wasn't the only fun thing that happened at Blitzkrieg Pro on two Fridays ago. So we had one of my new favorite tag teams, Delta House, or at least I thought it was Delta House, come out. Turns out it was actually the Shook Crew. They just took Delta House's gear. And one of my favorite moments of the night was Nick Robles comes out. The rocker boy, Nick Robles, excuse me. And he's like, "You took my clothes, but not my name."
Yes.
So we had this like 4-way tag team match between Delta House, which is Dante Drago, 35mm Magic, which is Angelo, Carter, and Jay George, who a little bit of dysfunction amongst that team as well, right?
Looking forward to that, yeah.
The Legion of Dudes, which is 50 Cal and Seabass Finn, who the guy did a fisherman suplex, and that popped me.
That's all we need sometimes.
Against the Shook Crew, which is also Dante Drago and Nick Robles, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so the Shook Crew comes out, and they're wearing Dante's gear, and they have like a pizza thing, and it's like, it was funny. And the last time we saw them, they were dressed as, they were the Shook Brood, and I think the Shook Crew is becoming masters of actually being funny in the ring and, you know, doing other people's gimmicks, I guess. So
yes, they are.
we'll see where they go with that. And Delta House won that match.
Listen, Dante Drago is one of my favorite performers right now. Let's put that out there. Love him.
CPA defeated Robert Martyr. Got the crowd kind of warmed up in this match. Kind of started off a little slow. By the end, it was pretty good.
Yes.
Gabby Forza beat Haley Dillon. Another good match. This was an interesting one. The Tag Team Championship match, the champions, the Miracle Generation, Dustin Waller and Kylon King, beat Young, Dumb, and Broke, which is Charlie Tiger and Pat Dynamite. I don't know much about this tag team, but I did see Charlie Tiger and the Thick Daddy Andy Brown go to war at a random bar in Holyoke once.
That's true.
So I know Charlie Tiger can take a beating.
It was a good match. They were both teams are good. Obviously, the Miracle Generation is always good, but Young, Dumb, and Broke was good too. I was impressed with them.
So we had a scramble match featuring the debuting Charles Stunning against Eric Cha-Cha, Leary, Logan Black, and the winner, Tristan Kyle. This was a fun match.
It was, and I kind of like Tristan Kyle, and I also like Charles Stunning.
You got to be careful in the ring, Charles. Be careful.
Yes, take it easy, but I'm a sucker for gimmicks. When you have a gimmick and you go hard at it, I appreciate it.
Especially if you're Tristan Kyle.
Correct.
Even Stevens were in the house, folks. Steven Azure, Steve Somerset. They defeated the Hardworking Men, which this team reminded me of like just old school wrestling, like characters, like construction workers.
Yep.
And the group, The Union, from the Attitude Era, The Union. They just reminded me of The Union.
That's what they should be called. Come on.
Like Test, The Big Show, Ken Shamrock, and Mankind, right?
Yes.
Or no, was it the Boss Man? Was he part of it? No.
No.
It was The Big Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Hardworking Men are Diego El Trabajador, a.k.a. Diego the Worker, and Jake Gray, who is apparently Duke the Dumpster Drosie's son.
Yeah, that's canon. We figured that out.
Figured out. It's the son of the dumpster, for sure.
So he's like a trash can.
So then we had the insane encounter between Bulk Bronson and Cruel, which we knew what we were going to get with this one after seeing them go at it, throw each other into a Big Y door.
That's right.
in Springfield. And they had a rematch that was no rules. So they were putting the doors in the ring ahead of time for this one. And these guys went completely nuts.
I just want to say, I told you live, I just want to say it here on the pod. There was a lovely older woman sitting next to me. They brought the doors into the ring first before the match, and she poked me on the shoulder. Hasn't talked to me the whole show. Pokes me on the shoulder and says, "What are they going to do with the doors?" And I'm like, "I think they're going to go through them, miss." And she was like, oh. And then they did.
Yeah, they went through the doors. They there was this back body suplex thing that kind of surprised me. Cruel just tossed Bronson backwards. It was like a fall away slam into the chairs.
It was, yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like that would be as insane as it was, but it was crazy.
It was. I got a video of you completely losing your mind.
That was raw emotion, okay? It was wild.
I think it's on our Instagram. It's definitely on our X at W Wrestling Pod. And so then they're hitting each other with the doors. I mean, I think Bronson must have bashed this door into Cruel's head 5 or 6 times before it actually kind of broke through his head.
Yes.
Then we get what I do not condone. I guess this is my finger wagging segment of the show, which is the unprotected chair shots to the head, which I'm not a proponent of.
Me either.
I don't even like it being used as a once in a while thing. Because then, when these guys have these crazy matches and they're throwing each other on the stage and throwing each other through doors, it's almost like you have to build up toward an unprotected chair shot. And I know a lot of these shots are concussive in nature, even when they're protected, whether it's a door, a table, the floor, the corner, all this stuff. But I don't want for it to become an expectation that, okay, well, you've done everything else. Now you need... I'd rather see guys use explosives, to be honest, than chair shots. And I know that they don't want to do that. But because a chair shot is a lot easier in the immediate term than explosives.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the, holy shit, unprotected chair shot. We'll do it once. Don't even do it once. So, but they did it in this match because you got to go somewhere, right? And we got Cruel taking some chair shots to the head and some door shots to the head, some real doors. And anything else happen in this one? In this chaotic frenzy? It was insane.
Oh, didn't they do? Did Cruel do a super choke slam? Right, and then the 6 chairs were set up in the ring. Right.
Oh yes, choke slam. Was it off the top rope or middle rope?
I think it was middle rope. Yeah.
Choke slam through a bunch of chairs that were set up.
And the chairs didn't give. That was another crazy spot. And Bronson's a huge man, and they just did not give. Oh. The
one thing I'll say of going to these shows, especially the past couple, seeing Bronson walking around beforehand, it's you could just tell he was just steeling himself up. Kind of what we would see out of a Dr. Redacted, of I'm going to go through some shit later.
Yes.
It's this foreboding sense. So then, so we had, obviously, Kirby Wackerman got attacked by his former tag team partner, and the sweeper beat him. Then we had what I thought was the match of the night. The Blitzkrieg Pro Bedlam Championship 4-way. TJ Crawford, the champ, defeated Jordan Oliver, Kevin Blackwood, and Sammy Diaz. This was amazing.
Yes, there's...
Kevin Blackwood, double stop.
My favorite part, though, was that I don't think we were all very clear on it, that it was an elimination match. So Sammy Diaz gets the first pinfall, and everyone thinks he won the title.
Exactly. That is exactly what happened. Yes, we forgot that it was an elimination match, because it was going on for 10 minutes, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And it's a 4-way elimination match. And Sammy Diaz, I believe he eliminated Kevin Blackwood, right? To start that kind of train, which was interesting. So, Kevin Blackwood didn't like that. But it's 1, 2, 3. Crowd goes nuts. Sammy Diaz just won. It's elimination, folks. The match continues. So then when it got down to just Jordan Oliver and TJ Crawford, these guys, Jordan Oliver just sends TJ into the rope. Middle rope just breaks.
It was insane. Another insane thing.
I'm just watching it, and when you just watch something happen and you're like, what? Chris just looks at me and goes, he could have fucking died.
The thing snapped. It wasn't a gimmicked snap rope or anything. It just popped off.
Just first words out of Chris's mouth. I'm just staring at it how do I react to that? And he just goes, he could have fucking died. And
then these guys just have 8 more minutes, and they do like moves off the top rope. They did like was it like a Spanish fly or some crazy shit off the top rope with no second rope? It was insane.
Yeah, there was no middle rope, and I mean, it didn't stop these two, you know?
Ugh.
Just like it didn't stop the Hart Foundation and the Rockers. Actually, it did stop them.
Yeah, it did.
But no, this was crazy. Rope just kind of busts right in the middle of the match. Well, I mean, at least it was towards the end.
Yeah, it was.
Can you imagine 4 guys still in the match, middle rope breaks? It's like, dude, we gotta rethink this.
Then it's not an elimination match anymore.
Yeah, then Sammy Diaz is just the winner. But yeah, so in the opener, CPA kind of called his shot and said that he wanted the next shot at the Blitzkrieg Pro Bedlam Championship. So then, at the end of the night, when everybody was filing out of their seats, filing out of the Pierogi Dome, CPA makes his way back into the ring, faces off with TJ. And I just thought it was so funny. What did he say? He said, so what? And everybody goes, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
But yes, we're getting, I think it's booked. Is it official? CPA versus TJ Crawford for the Bedlam Championship at the Blitzkrieg Pro Luau coming up on June 29th, also in Enfield. And you know who else is going to be there, Chris? Paul Walter Hauser.
Incredible.
And Paul London is going to be there. I don't know who I'm more excited for.
Did you see the match? It's Paul Walter Hauser and Paul London versus the Shook Crew.
Oh, I didn't know they were teaming up.
Yes, I saw that today on X.
Oh, they must have just announced it. Versus the Shook Crew. I wonder who the Shook Crew will
Yeah, I think they're going to come out like
cosplay as in this one. Maybe they'll be like Cobra Kai people. Or
I think they're going to be Cobra Kai, yeah.
You never know what's going to happen at these shows. And
I mean, I also think we're going to get, as you were kind of alluding to, I think we're going to see the first Bedlam Championship change hands in person. We have not been to when VSK lost or when Andy Brown had to lose the title.
Right, exactly.
So I think we're going to see a belt change for the first time live.
Because, folks, the question that we're going to close out the show with is, should CPA be the next Blitzkrieg Pro Bedlam Champion? The answer that I have found is yes. It's time, folks. Do you remember that scramble match like 2 years ago in Enfield that CPA won? I feel like it was the first time that crowd got to see his shirt removal because the people were just going insane.
Yes.
He took off like 4 shirts. Place went I thought he was going to win the belt after that.
It was incredible, yeah.
Like, it's his time. CPA needs to finish the story here. And that was a couple years ago. Since then, we've seen CPA feud it out with his nemesis, Logan Black. Seen him in a lot of scramble matches. Seen him beat former champion, VSK. For God's sakes. The greatest Blitzkrieg Bedlam champion of all time, VSK. And yes, it is time, folks. TJ, great champion. It might not be over, right?
Yeah, it might not be.
There's more there for sure with TJ. But I don't know. Sometimes you got to strike while the iron is hot.
Plus, we don't know when Thick Daddy's coming back, so he's going to want a rematch because he never lost the title. He had to drop it because of his injury. So maybe you don't want to have CPA versus Andy Brown because you want Andy Brown to get his belt back. We'll see.
A lot of players here in the mix, folks.
That's
and
right.
We are going to be there. I'm pumped for it. We'll see what Paul Walter Hauser brings to the table. We'll see how many stars his match gets. But yes, that about does it, folks, for this episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Thank you for sticking with us. It is good to be back. Thank you for sticking with us to the end of the show. We appreciate you here, as always. You already know, be kind, like, subscribe, and share. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Oh, what does this button do?
What's a baby face?
Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman.
Who the fuck